Loni Anderson's passing on August 3, 2025, at age 79, has reopened a chapter of Hollywood history once billed as the greatest divorce show in town. Far more than a celebrity breakup, the Reynolds-Anderson saga has become a cautionary tale in legal, financial, and custodial planning under extreme public and media pressure. Here, we trace the full story from Anderson's rise from Midwestern small town to television's hottest sex symbol, to her whirlwind romance with Burt Reynolds, their marriage, protracted divorce, financial implosion, legal fallout, and the ramifications that persist in family law and entertainment circles nearly 4 decades later. Loni Anderson, rise from pageantry to primetime icon. Born August 5, 1945, in St. Paul, Minnesota, Anderson spent her teenage years in suburban Roseville. Her long blonde hair and Midwestern poise first attracted notice in regional beauty pageants, but behind the glamorous facade was intelligence. She majored in drama at the University of Arkansas before moving to Los Angeles in 1975. Within 3 years, she had logged dozens of guest spots on shows like BJ and the Bear, Starsky and Hutch, and Movies for TV. Her breakthrough arrived in 1978 when she was cast as Jennifer Marlowe, the sexy but streetwise receptionist on CBS's WKRP in Cincinnati. The dual nominations, 2 Emmys and 3 Golden Globes, testify to the character's complex blend of charm, wit, and agency. That role vaulted her into household name status and became her enduring screen persona. Quietly entrepreneurial, Anderson soon negotiated the highest salary for a TV supporting actress at the time, thanks to a savvy agent who restructured her compensation beyond per-episode pay. After WKRP ended its 4-year run in 1982, Anderson turned down typecast soap roles and sought A-list film parts, but few offers came. She starred in Stroker Ace, 1983, The Jane Mansfield Story, 1980, and minor motion pictures, never realizing her ambition for sustained big-screen success. In 1995, she distilled the experience and her marriage to Burt Reynolds into My Life in High Heels, a candid memoir that later court cited in professorial analyses of celebrity self-branding. All-American Boy meets sex symbol, their serendipitous pairing. Loni first encountered Burt Reynolds in 1981 on The Merv Griffin Show, but it was their pairing in 1983's Stroker Ace that catalyzed lifelong headlines. On-set flirtations, accidentally captured by paparazzi, fed tabloid speculation. MGM's publicity team soon orchestrated joint appearances, magazine covers, talk show circuits, and gala red carpets. Reynolds, then earning up to $10 million per film, needed a publicity boost after Stroker Ace underperformed, while Anderson needed film star credibility. The mutual arrangement worked. Their public image blended glamour and grit, creating the illusion of mutual ascendancy. Despite media spin, both were wary of being exploited. Interviews decades later reveal that Anderson herself referred to Reynolds as having crowned the couple the power couple of the decade, even as behind the scenes she privately feared his volatility. A Florida wedding, an adoption, and fragile financial footing. On April 29, 1988, Anderson and Reynolds wed at his 153-acre Jupiter ranch in Florida. The private ceremony, only 70 guests and no live television coverage, was nonetheless orchestrated for press. Pictures leaked, exclusive deals signed. Legal filings, later unsealed, show no prenuptial trust structured behind it. Instead, property titles remained under joint names. Within weeks, they adopted Quinton Anderson Reynolds, their only child. Though both acknowledged during deposition that the adoption created equal parental statuses, neither took steps to shield parental support funds from marital asset claims, a significant omission, given Reynolds' aggressive dividend strip at an LLC controlling his media-related IP rights. Soon money became a flashpoint. Reynolds' star had already peaked. Striptease, 1996, and Cop and a Half underperformed. Meantime, Anderson had trouble parlaying her WKRP fame into other high-profile roles. Insiders placed tension at the intersection of ego, image, and declining market value. Anderson would later allege mood swings and physical aggression stemming from Reynolds' prescription painkillers, an accusation Reynolds denied. In interviews, he discarded the union as not lollipops and roses, calling it a dumb marriage built on fear of loneliness, the legal separation, and dollar figures that shocked lawyers. On February 10, 1993, Reynolds filed for legal separation in Tallahassee, citing irreconcilable differences and alleging adultery. Anderson, within a week, filed cross-petitions for sole custody and equitable distribution of assets. Court documents cited a temporary order stipulating Reynolds would pay roughly $47,000 a month in alimony, child support, and mortgage obligations. That figure fed media frenzy. Copywriters called it a red carpet billable lawsuit. Sensitive depositions, later cited in Florida family law journals, revealed that Reynolds owed more than $2 million in litigation-related costs over the duration of the divorce. Meanwhile, Anderson retreated from public commentary entirely, instructing her lawyers to issue briefly worded statements. "I deserve privacy. I seek nothing beyond our son's future." Reynolds, in contrast, launched a string of televised interviews, including on Larry King Live, lamenting legal and emotional exhaustion, though often contradicting court filings. Final decree and asset carve-outs. By December 1994, the divorce decree mandated one-time payment of U.S. $234,794.13 in alimony, monthly payments for mortgage on a $1.9 million Los Angeles house deeded to Anderson, around $9,000 per month. Monthly child support for Quinton of approximately $15,000, including school and extracurricular allowances. Extra expenses for tuition and activities totaling nearly $26,000 per month. Despite these instructions, Reynolds began defaulting. Legal motions filed by Anderson reported unpaid bills, delayed alimony, and occasional lien notices against shared property. Flesh and blood enforcement mechanisms, e.g., wage garnishment or income liens on film residuals, were delayed due to Reynolds' quickly fading finances. Bankruptcy, when celebrity doesn't equal liquidity. In December 1996, Reynolds filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in West Palm Beach. Bankruptcy filings disclosed assets at U.S. $6.65 million offset by debts of U.S. $11.2 million, including the remaining alimony, unsecured loans, and failed investments in Folks and Daisy's Diner. Post-bankruptcy estimates valued Reynolds' debts at U.S. $10 million or more, including malpractice fees and Hollywood agency commissions. His legal team apprised his estate to forego further personal guarantees on business ventures. Probes into the Teak Holdings and the Jupiter Ranch properties showed depreciated values. In one motion, Reynolds admitted 9 months of unpaid local property taxes on one home and default on another loan. In 2014, a circuit court judge ordered Reynolds to pay U.S. $154,520.98 in alimony arrears, to be disbursed with statutory interest. The order softened headlines around that time for Loni's legal team, albeit 3 decades later. That judgment remains cited by family law attorneys as national precedent for deferred spousal support claims surviving bankruptcy. Public by spotlight, private in emotion. While the legal drama played out, their adopted son Quinton remained shielded from public view, though ballistic media lawns leaked glimpses. In a rare public comment in 2025, via People magazine, Quinton said, "My mother taught me resilience. My father taught me persistence." That reflection, printed under court order to respect his privacy at age 36, echoes both parents' influence in separate forms. Anderson later chose selective engagements, a cameo in Ladies of the 80s, A Diva's Christmas, 2023, guest arcs on Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Nurses, and others. She married musician Bob Flick, founding member of folk group The Brothers 4, in May 2008, 45 years after first meeting him in Minneapolis. The ceremony in Los Angeles featured Quinton walking her down the aisle. Reynolds did not attend. Anderson became a vocal spokeswoman for COPD awareness, herself having witnessed her mother's battle, a cause she carried through the final decade of her life. She died in a Los Angeles hospital following a prolonged illness, just 2 days before her 80th birthday. Reynolds, by contrast, never fully recovered financially. Though he earned back critical acclaim and an Oscar nomination in 1997, Boogie Nights, his earnings never approached earlier thresholds. A 2011 foreclosure action alleged Ryder notes totaling $1.2 million in arrears on a Florida residence. He died of a heart attack on September 6, 2018, at age 82, with his probate filings still listing unresolved alimony obligations. In a final legal twist, Reynolds left Quinton out of his will, but legal counsel confirmed a testamentary trust existed outside probate to provide long-term support for Quinton, effectively keeping the son's rights outside creditor exposure. Analysis for attorneys, estates, and high-net-worth planners. The Reynolds-Anderson divorce continues as a case study in family law clinics, wealth management seminars, and entertainment law conferences. Key lessons include prenuptial trust and funding schedules. Without a fully funded trust to ensure monthly alimony and housing payments, Reynolds was hamstrung when cash flow dried. Asset segregation for operational businesses. Reynolds' direct investment in restaurant ventures exposed his personal estate to catastrophic liability. Corporate vehicles, LLCs, or separate legal entities could have limited this exposure. Adoption obligations need explicit financial provisions. The adoption created equal parental claims. Without a trust-based structure to fund Quinton's expenses, Reynolds' obligations continued in perpetuity, which bankruptcy could only partially override. Strategic media management. Anderson's attorneys coordinated with PR to limit her media involvement, preserving her dignity and dampening publicity costs. Reynolds' public lament made headlines, but increased legal friction and eroded public sympathy. Private mediation can reduce legal friction and cost. Unlike the open courtroom process pursued, early mediation or settlement could have reduced Reynolds' $2 million in legal costs alone. Bankruptcy doesn't erase spousal support. Reynolds' 2014 arrears order enforced decades-old support obligations. Under Florida law, discharge of bankruptcy does not eliminate accrued alimony claims. Why their story still commands attention. More than spectacles, the Reynolds-Anderson dynamic merged romance, money, and litigation under global scrutiny. It aligned with pop culture fascination with celebrity extremes, cultural tensions over gender and professional agency in a relationship with a 13-year age gap and career hierarchy. Media messaging templates now emulated in celebrity divorces, from tabloid leaks to dueling talk show interviews. Streaming-era docuseries potential. Renewed interest in sealed files and cinematic retellings has led production houses to explore dramatized limited series, citing steady audience appetite for downfall narratives. One network anchor described their story as a contractual extravaganza with emotional costs. Final reflection. Loni Anderson's death felt bittersweet, not just for fans of WKRP in Cincinnati, but for anyone who sees beyond the celebrity scandal and perceives the hard-won lessons of emotional strength, legal foresight, and personal reinvention. Her legacy is one of wit and dignity. She lived more than a decade post-divorce, remarried, and reimagined her identity beyond Jennifer Marlowe. Burt Reynolds, in death, left a narrative of charisma overshadowed by mismanagement. His financial collapse, even after a comeback performance, demonstrates how high earnings can vaporize without structural constraints. Today, their marriage and divorce are taught in law clinics, cited in estate planning treaties, and studied in public relations case files. That the fallout, supplemental support orders, unpaid alimony, deeded property, court judgments, continued decades after the breakup highlights enduring consequences of celebrity unions under contract law. And that Quinton emerged grounded, resilient yet persistent, in spite of tabloid warfare, points to a human reality beyond headlines. In death, Loni Anderson once more brought public attention to a chapter she never sought to publish, but that remained instructive in corporate mergers, family law, and emotional resilience. In revisiting their union, we find not only a Hollywood cautionary tale, but a paradigmatic example of how love, litigation, and legacy intersect with irrevocable consequences, and how, in the end, dignity survives litigation even if finances do not.